Good day, and welcome to another TaLK experience video. Now, if you remember in the last one, we just arrived at Jochiwan. It's my first night there and everything, and I arrived in my room. Now, let me just tell you, this is the room bit, and probably the roommate bit as well, a bit of the roommate. Just a quick thing, I am going to mention people on their first names. I don't want to just to protect their privacy, if this blows up or whatever, and just to protect their privacy, because there's a lot of people whose names, like, it's going to be difficult for me to talk about people in South Korea. It's like, oh yeah, I met this person and he was this and this and this. So I'll probably just mention their first names, if the story is about them and whatnot and everything. So just a little heads up. Also, I'm going to start implementing photos from my time in Korea, but most of the photos are only going to be either focused on me or whatever, because protecting privacy and whatnot. So I haven't gotten I've not gotten any permission to post their faces or whatever, so we're just gonna keep it as private as possible, unless someone who watches one of the TaLK people, some of the TaLK people who watches these videos, unless they say it's okay. So hopefully they do. If not, don't worry, your faces won't be shown. And if faces are shown, it's going to be mine and probably like hair or whatever. You'll see soon in this one. So here's the big thing. I get into my room, drop off the stuff, went down for a smoke. There was no one in my room, but I know the room was already, there was already another person in the room. So I was sharing a room. So this room, I wish I took photos more in my first days of Korea. So I'm going off of memory, mainly because I wasn't a photo guy. I wasn't a photo guy. And so this room, what it looks like, you open the door. There's this little step that you have to take your shoes off. Now remember, I've been spending time in these shoes for the majority of the previous day, So feet are smelly. Just keep that in mind. So I'm sitting there, get into the room. After I smoked and everything, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to take a fucking shower. And I'm like, cool. I didn't even notice that. I noticed the other person's bed had his suitcase on it, or their suitcase on it. And I was like, fuck it. Okay. So I'm sitting there. Now, by this time, about 40 minutes has passed since I've dropped off my suitcase. So I'm back in my room, and I'm like, I'm going to shower. It's late. I'm going to shower. And I get into the shower. I take off the plastic wrap off my bag. I get into the shower. I start showering and everything. And after the shower, get new clothes. After the shower, reach into my bag, take a can of deodorant, and spray the fuck out of my shoes. And I started wearing, and then I put on my takis, as they call it, my trainers, if you will, in South Korea, that I took there. And I'm like, cool. And I walk outside, grab another smoke, and get back into my room and finally meet my roommate, right? But before we meet my roommate, let me explain to you what the room looks like. So it's got this little bit of a front step, a tiny bit of a step that you take your shoes off and then you walk into the room. And it's literally, you open the door and you see the entire room, right? There's 2 beds in front of you. And those 2 beds have a connecting, at the headpiece of the beds was a connecting desk. And each desk had a chair. So it's literally a tiny studying place. And on each, if the desk was, it's a U-shaped desk. So it was, if you were to divide it in half, one side there was PowerPoints and the internet connection, Ethernet connection, and a bit of shelving. And on the other side, exactly the same. So it's basically, you see the entire room. And I'm talking maybe 10 meters in. It's enough space for a bed and a desk, and that's it. And obviously for 2 beds, and obviously walking space in between, obviously. But on the side of the door, you see the shower. Now, the Korean showers are more like wet rooms. So it's basically the shower head with a bit of a wall and then the toilet. But like that entire place is open. So it's like I'm standing there going, okay, I really hope my roommate doesn't need to poo or pee or come in to do his things, their things, because I'm going to be, ugh, you know. So I'm showering very quickly. This is the quickest shower I've probably ever taken in my life, but I'm clean. And go out, have another smoke. I think I grabbed a coffee, which was probably not the best idea because Korean coffee is weak. Because it's like all these pre-made stuff. So I'm like, okay, cool. But I grabbed a coffee was coffee. Okay, so I took that, still smoking my South African cigarettes, and yeah, get back into my room, and I finally meet my roommate. Yeah, holy balls, damn. Okay, I'm gonna go for a bit longer in this video because this roommate, right? One of the most amazing people. He was the first amazing person I met in South Korea. And I'm glad they've shacked me up with him, or whatever you want to call it. This guy's stats, man, he is flamboyant, happy. He exudes happiness. Now, just as a side note, I've got underlying depression, right? So my happiness, when I'm really happy at that stage, when I was really happy, I didn't really show it, you know? I didn't really show it. But like he was exuding happiness and I couldn't help but smile and be happy around him and everything, you know? And he literally tells me like, oh, I saw when I got into my room and I saw your suitcase, and me and my friends were like, ooh, who's this person? Who's this? Let's see if we can figure out where this person is from. Now, remember, I've got all my hand luggage and everything is there. And, you know, they like trying to look at the plane tag and they figured out, okay, I'm from a place called South Africa. And they like, without like actually entering my bags, they were trying to figure out who the hell I am. And I was like, oh man, that is so freaking awesome. You know, they're like all curious and stuff. And one of the people that was one of his friends. Also, I met him on the airport and everything, but we were all like I was the guy like going, I want to be as relaxed and professional as possible. I want to be professional, but I also want to have a bit of fun. But I was mostly professional and quiet during during my first few days, maybe even weeks on the orientation. So yeah, we started talking and everything, and I figure out where he's from, and I tell him where I'm from, tell him a bit about South Africa, and yeah, that was my roommate. Yeah, one of, like I said, the first amazing person that I've met, and probably one of the people that changes my mindset. He was one of the first people that changes my mindset about a certain category of people, and not to say that I didn't like. I think he was did not like a certain category of people. Now I sound very weird. I think like I've always thought a certain way, and he was the person that affirmed that the way that I was thinking was the correct way of my thoughts, you know. And very beautiful man and everything. And I've got a little bit of a surprise. I'm going to show you guys a photo, the first photo that was taken of me in South Korea the next morning. Are you guys ready to see a really fat man? Boom, baby. Right there. Right there. Very first photo of me taken. Yeah, look at that fat man. Yeah. Can't believe I was that fat. But anyway, the next morning. So we're gonna. I'm surprising myself that I'm going into this much detail, but we're gonna get to a part where there's not a lot of details anymore, where we're gonna talk about someone who recently commented in my group. We're getting to that part probably next week at some point, because the big thing is I want to tell these stories from my perspective and what I was thinking and feeling. So just we'll come back to a lot of topics that I've mentioned today. And yeah, that was my first night. Went to bed. It was the first time. Let me just put this and then let me just say this and then I'll close off the video. That Sunday night, as tired and dirty and whatever I felt, right? I didn't, like, by all accounts, I shouldn't have felt good, right? That night, when I went to bed, it was the first time, and I'm not kidding, it was the first time in my recent life, and I'm talking from about 2009, 2010, the first time since then that I went to bed happy. Yeah, I went to bed happy, and we'll cover the first few days in the next few videos, maybe even the first few weeks. So I want to say thank you, everybody, for watching this video. Your comments and likes are much appreciated. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I'll see you in the next video.